All right, welcome back to EduTube and our Web3 Marketing Mastery course. So, we're about to dive into a word you've probably heard a million times, blockchain. And I know, it can sound super complicated, right? But my promise to you today is that we're going to break it down so simply using just one little story that by the end of this, you'll go, oh, is that it? Seriously, let's jump right in.
So let's kick things off with a kind of weird question. Think about the huge things we use every single day, like your bank or Instagram or even Google. Now, what if they weren't these massive, powerful companies? What if they were just a notebook? Yeah, it sounds a little strange, but stick with me here, because this one simple idea, it's the absolute key to unlocking this whole blockchain thing. Okay, so before we get to the solution, we've got to talk about the problem, right? Why did someone even need to invent this stuff? Well, in today's world, the problem usually boils down to one word: middlemen. You know, all those companies and services that stand in the middle of, well, pretty much everything you do.
Let's take a super simple example. Say you want to send some money to a friend. You pull out your phone, tap a button, and boom, it's sent. It feels like it goes straight from you to them, right? But that's not what's happening at all. In reality, your money is going on this wild journey. From you, maybe through an app, then to your bank, which has to talk to your friend's bank, and then finally, it lands with your friend. Every single one of those steps is a middleman, and each one adds a little bit of complexity, maybe a fee, and definitely a delay.
And hey, this isn't just about money. Think about it. Maybe you're a creator or you're running a small business on a platform like Instagram. You spent years building up your audience, creating amazing content. Your entire business is on that platform. But what happens if one day Instagram just decides they don't like what you're posting, or they change an algorithm? Poof. With one flick of a switch, your entire business could be gone. You're completely at their mercy. That is the problem with having a middleman in charge. It's called centralization.
So, that brings up the big question. How do we fix this? How do we get around these powerful middlemen? Well, the answer, believe it or not, starts with a really simple story. A story about a magical shared notebook. And I promise you, this little story is about to make everything click.
Okay, so imagine you and a bunch of your friends are in a room, and instead of one person being in charge of keeping notes, suddenly, this magical notebook just appears, and the moment it does, an identical copy of it pops into everyone's hands. Every single person in the group has the exact same notebook. If there are 50 of you, there are 50 identical notebooks.
All right, now let's say one of your friends, Alice, decides she wants to give another friend, Bob, 5 coins. She doesn't have to go ask for permission from anyone. There's no banker, no boss. She just opens up her copy of the notebook and writes down what happened. Alice gives Bob 5 coins. And here's the cool part, the magical part. The second Alice writes that in her notebook, poof, that exact same sentence instantly appears in everyone else's notebook. Just like that, everyone's notebook is updated at the exact same time. The entire group now knows for a fact that Alice gave Bob 5 coins. You don't have to trust Alice or Bob or anyone else. You trust the notebook because everyone has the same record.
Okay, this all sounds pretty cool, right? It seems super transparent, but what's the first thing you're probably thinking? What if someone tries to cheat? I mean, what's stopping someone from just changing what's written in their own notebook?
Exactly. So let's say another friend, Charlie, decides to get a little sneaky. He takes out his notebook and secretly tries to change that last entry. He crosses out Bob's name and writes Charlie instead, so it says Alice gives Charlie 5 coins. But here's the thing. The moment he does that, his notebook is different from everybody else's. The rest of the group looks at their notebooks, which all say Bob got the coins, and then they look at Charlie's. It's obvious his is the fake. The group can just ignore his change. It's like the whole class calling out the one person who got the answer wrong. The system automatically rejects the lie. And that right there, that's the superpower of this whole system. Because everyone has a copy of the real story, no one person can go back and secretly rewrite history. When something is written in that notebook and agreed upon by the group, it's locked in. It's permanent. There's a fancy word for this. We call it immutable, which just means it can't be changed. The truth is protected by the entire group, not just one person.
Okay, you with me so far? You get the magical notebook, right? Everyone has a copy, everyone sees the updates, and nobody can cheat. Well, guess what? You now understand blockchain. It's time to give our magical notebook its real name.
That magical notebook we've been talking about, that is a blockchain. Seriously, that's the core idea. It's just a digital file, like a giant shared spreadsheet for storing information.
But the key difference is, instead of living on one company's server, like Google's, it's copied and spread out across thousands of computers all over the world. And because of that, everyone can see it, but no single person can change it by themselves.
So all those features of our notebook, they have official techie names. The fact that everyone has a copy, that's called being distributed. The fact that everyone can see what's written inside, that's transparency. That rule about not being able to change things once they're written, we already learned that one. It's immutability. And maybe the most important part of all, the fact that there's no single boss or company in charge, well, that's decentralization. That's the big one.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, a cool way to keep a list, so what? But this is so much bigger than just a record book. This simple idea of a shared, uncheatable notebook, it's a technology that could literally change how the entire internet works. Let's break down just how different this is. The internet we use today, which people call Web 2, is all about platforms. Facebook, Google, your bank, they control your data. They own your account. You have to trust them not to misuse it, and they can kick you off anytime they want. Now look at the other side, a blockchain-based internet or Web 3. Here, you control your data. You actually own your digital identity. And since there's no central boss, no single person can censor you or shut you down. Trust isn't something you give to a company. It's just built into the code of the system itself. It's a total flip. And please, don't think this is just about Bitcoin or money. That was just the first use case. This magical notebook can be used for any kind of important information. Imagine tracking a diamond from the moment it comes out of the ground all the way to the jewelry store, with a permanent public record proving it's ethically sourced. No more fakes. Or what about smart contracts that automatically pay a freelance designer the second they upload their final files? No more chasing invoices. We could have a fraud-proof record of who owns what piece of land, or instantly verify someone's car insurance after an accident. The possibilities are just huge.
Look, if you walk away from this with just one sentence in your head, I want it to be this one. All a blockchain is a new way to store information that's secure, transparent, and isn't controlled by any single person or company. That's it. That's the whole secret. It's a notebook that we all share and we all trust.
So now you know the secret of the magical notebook. You get the big idea. So I want to leave you with a question to think about. What are the things in your life or in the world that rely on a middleman you don't fully trust? What systems are slow or unfair or not transparent? Now that you know this new tool exists, what would you build with it?
And there you have it, blockchain. Hopefully not so scary anymore, right? If this whole magical notebook idea finally made it all click for you, then do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're on this journey to master Web 3 together, and we're going to do it one simple step at a time.
Oh, and one last thing before you go. I'd love to know, what part of the analogy helped you the most? Was it the idea that everyone has a copy, or the part about Charlie trying to cheat? Drop a comment below and let me know. We might even feature the best answers in a future video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next one.
EduTube, where blockchain becomes easy to understand.